What's up, guys? I am here with my first official video. And thank you all in advance for the love and support. I do hope that, you guys are tuned in. As I said before, this is a pretty sensitive subject for myself. Just something that's been on my mind here recently. I want to say, like, maybe the past year and a half. Some things kind of shifted for me in a really big way. But basically, today's topic is being a parent who grew up, without either one or the other, or maybe without both. For me, I had my mother present, but she wasn't, I guess necessarily present for me. She was there, you know. She did what she could. She did what she knew, and it's a discussion that I've already had with her. Just things that her and I have had to talk about to try to, I guess, move forward and better our relationship, which it definitely has, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And I love my mother to death. She's, like I said, she did everything that she could, everything that she knew, to her best capabilities, and for that, I'm grateful for her. I didn't have my dad really much at all, so I feel like now that I am a father myself, it's been a little difficult, uh, trying to be a father when I didn't really know what that was. My mom tried playing both roles, and I mean, it didn't go too well. I was young. I was already running out and about in the streets, um, drinking, doing drugs, things I shouldn't have been doing around that age. So I really started to, detach from my mother. Uh, Really, it was my grandmother that, if it wasn't for her, God knows where I'd be. But she gave me some sort of sense of direction for a while. Uh, it was just me, I started veering off into a different path, just hanging around people that I shouldn't have been hanging around, doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. And all that time, one of the main questions that crossed my mind, time and time again, was, where's my dad? Where is he? Why isn't he in my life? Was it my fault? Is it my mom's fault? Is it just him not wanting anything to do with me? For the longest, it was something that I questioned. I felt like a lot of my rebellious actions were because of me trying to seek some type of um, direction from a fatherly figure. And around that time, I want to say maybe like 13 years old, I did have like my stepdad, but he himself was not in the right mind. And there wasn't really much that he could teach me at that point. So it was difficult, um, trying to maneuver through life without that, that fatherly figure in my life. So I was just constantly seeking chaos, just constantly running around, looking for trouble, trying to find any way, I guess, to bring some sort of attention to myself from my mother, from my family. And I will say that my uncle, uh, my uncles, they were probably as close as I got to a dad. They tried giving me advice, tried keeping me on my P's and Q's, but again, there's only so much that can do. When in reality, you know, at the end of the day, that is not my father. And yeah, it's advice that a father could give and that a father is giving, but it's not my own father. So a lot of those things didn't stick with me. They went in one ear and out the other, you know. And yeah, time went by. I disconnected from my family. You know, by the time I was like 16, I was already very detached from a majority of them. I kept in touch with a couple of my cousins, you know, and yeah, life just started changing for me very, very, very quickly. Um, but yeah, like all those moments, you know, in my life, it again, it was just a thought that I couldn't help but think, like, you know, why wasn't my dad around? Could he have prevented any of the things that I was going through at all, you know, or was it just me, you know? And I mean, clearly we are all in control of our own decisions and our own actions, but I guess for a long time I just kind of I blamed the lack of uh, parental guidance, you know, because my mom was doing her own thing, um, and that'll be different subject matter. But yeah, and my dad, I mean, I didn't really know much at all about him. So yeah, you know, I eventually ended up having my son, and uh, when he was born, he was actually in the NICU for a while. He had swallowed amniotic fluid. He was having vitamin deficiencies, and his mom also went into shock whenever, you know, she was giving birth, which was terrifying. It was a terrifying experience. I didn't get to cut his umbilical cord. They had to immediately, you know, take him and, you know, pump his lungs to get the fluid out. So it was a very scary experience to say the least. But yeah, you know, for a while I lived, you know, with my son, and you know, as time went on, I was slowly trying to learn how to be a father to him, um, trying to understand what it meant to give him, you know, unconditional love, uh, and just be there as a father, you know. And in my mind, for the longest, I thought, well, you know, me being present, me being here, you know, I'm here, it counts. And it was something that took me so long to understand that I was mistaken. Um, because obviously it was what my mom was doing. You know, she was there, she was there, but she was not really involved with me, my life. You know what I had going on, a lot of the things that I was doing at the time, and that's how I felt. You know, I felt like, well, I'm here. You know, that counts for something, um, right? So as time went on, you know, the years passed. We came across some very difficult times, struggles for sure. Uh, and all the while, you know, I'm still trying to understand, you know, what it is to be a father and how to be a father, because I had no idea what I was doing. Um, and I was scared, you know, because not really knowing what I'm doing, it's like, yeah, when all I wanted to do was try to set a prime example for my son, when in fact I didn't even know what that example was. Uh, so I worked and worked and worked and worked. Um, and I want to say the past maybe 5, 6 years, uh, basically prior to me moving out on my own, which is a little, I think over a year and a half now. But prior to that, the job that I was working, it was not the best, definitely not the safest. Um, I made a lot of poor decisions. Uh, I was giving in to my addictions, and I was just lost. You know, I was so focused on the money and trying to maintain my household that I didn't want to fail. I didn't want us to have to struggle anymore because we got to the point where we were comfortable. And, at some point, I myself got too comfortable. I allowed my mind to wander off into nothing but thoughts. I was constantly thinking about money. How can I get the money? How can I make money? Am I gonna? Can I pay this? Can I pay that? Can I buy this? Can I buy that? Whatever the case may have been, to the point where I was just, I was never present, and I thought me just being there meant that I was being present, but I wasn't. I spent, the entire day with my son, while his mom would be at work, and then, obviously she'd get home, and then I'd go to work. I'd get home at 3, 4 in the morning. Sometimes, unfortunately, I wouldn't even get home till the following day. I'd be intoxicated, or, just asleep in my car somewhere. Just involving myself in things that I shouldn't have. And yeah, it was a really dark time for me. Like I said, I was really caught up with making money, to the point where I was just so comfortable with my environment. I thought, everything's good, nothing's gonna change. I've got everything that I need, and I have nothing to worry about, because I've got money. And uh, you know, during that time, I had my accidents. My accident, major accident, totaled my car. Didn't even have it a year. Uh, and Yeah, like I just, even when that happened, it didn't take me till here recently, um, to understand that I could have lost everything. I could have lost my life. I could have lost my son. He could have lost me. Vice versa. Uh, just, I guess this past year and a half has been a lot of realization for me. Very eye opening. Like I said, I got extremely comfortable, um, being there with my son every single day, unless I was working, obviously. And then, of course, the times that I would go out, with my friends and get drunk and just do things that I should have known better not to do. So, yeah, I feel like here recently, I began to realize that I took all of that for granted. Um, as to where I was seeing, sorry, as to where I was seeing my son, um, on a regular basis. You know, uh, I went from that to seeing him, you know, every other weekend. Uh, so that's maybe like a day, maybe 2 days, max. Sometimes I get him, throughout the week if he's off of school now. Since he is older, I don't, I can't necessarily spend every day with him. He's in school now. And yeah, like, and it's not because his mom or anything like that. Like, she allows me to see him whenever. I've just been so wrapped up, in my own problems that, uh, I just, it seems like I don't have time, and it sucks. But everything that's going on in my life is due to my own decisions. Uh, I shortly before me moving out on my own, uh, I quit the job that I had because, like I said, it was very dangerous, environment, and at any given moment, I could have lost my life many times. And it was something that his mom tried drilling into my head time and time and time and time again. But I was just so caught up in that fast money that it's all I wanted. And when I finally gave it up, we were already, living our separate lives, still under the same roof, uh, but just co-parenting to the best of our capabilities. And eventually it got to the point where she, uh, her and her partner, they were having a baby, and so I had to go out on my own and get a space of my own. And so, you know, that happened, and now I'm here. It's been, like I said, a little over a year now, a year and a half, but it's been very difficult for me. You know, and like I said, his mother's great. If it weren't for her, God knows that I'd probably just be some deadbeat dad. Like, being completely honest, who knows? I probably would be. There's no telling, just because of the way that I was living life at the time. And and I'm very grateful for her because she keeps him on track. She's got a great routine for him. Keeps him focused on school. And yeah, for me, uh, it's just been hard because I don't have him anywhere near as much. And like I said, I've got legal issues that require me to take care of certain things. Um, I'm working, and if I'm not working, then I'm, trying to manage my own life. And yeah, it's gotten pretty difficult. Uh, it sucks because you know the other day that he was here with me, um, we were watching a movie, and there was this character in the movie that was crying, and he's like, you know, uh, jeez, sorry. Um, he's like, look, Dad, that's me. And I'm like, what do you mean that's you? He's like, that's me when I miss you, when I gotta go back home. You know, it sucks when, like I said, trying to be a parent, trying to be a father, and set an example. It's hard to try and explain, as to why you're no longer as present. And there's times when he asks me, he'll just be like, why do you live over here now? And well, I had to move. Your mom and her boyfriend, they have their own family going on now, and I just can't. There's no space for me there. You know, trying to put it the nicest way that I can for him, something that he can easily understand, and yeah, it's just him asking that question, and then you know, following up with things like, I miss, whenever you'd be home with me. And like I said, it's just hard, man. It's hard. Cause I feel like I took all that time that I had with him for granted. Um, you know, and I wish I would have been more present, less focused on money and stupid things that really had no value to my life. Because now I'm here, um, you know, and sometimes it just feels like I'm missing a really big part of myself. And I try dealing with it the best that I can. Um, and I'm sorry to get, emotional. I kind of had a feeling this was going to happen. It's something that I don't really talk about a lot, something that I don't like to talk about. And it's something that I'm learning how to deal with and how to express openly and comfortably. Something that I'm trying to teach my son that, being vulnerable and expressing your emotions doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a man. Um, and it's hard because I didn't have anybody there to teach me those things. It's all just something that I've had to learn on my own, which I'm grateful for. Um, because I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. I wouldn't know what I know now. And sometimes it just feels like it's a little too late. I mean, I know it will never be the same because I won't have him as much. And I just feel like I've missed so much of his life because I was just so focused on money and trying to take care of us. Sorry. Uh, yeah. It it's definitely been a learning experience for me, and a lot has changed for me here recently. Um, but one thing that I want him to know is that I'm doing this for him. You know, everything that I'm, everything that I've done up to this point, I hope that he one day can understand that I thought I was doing what I was supposed to as a father. Um, but I lost sight of what matters the most. Um, and I just want him to know that I'm so proud of you. I know he's. I know you're probably gonna see this. I know you're probably gonna watch, your dad cry, but uh, I just want you to know that I'm proud of you, buddy. Always am. Uh, I'm really proud of you, man. I love you more than I could ever express in words, and I'd do absolutely anything for you. And I'm making these videos, so that you could see that the only thing that holds us back is fear. And I let fear hold me back for so long. Uh, I let fear control me for so long. And, I wish I would have let all that go sooner. Um, but, like I said, just know that I'm proud of you, buddy. I always am. You're a smart kid. Sometimes you can talk my ears off, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I know you're going to do great things. I mean, you already have. And I'm very excited to see you grow up and see where life takes you and see what you do with it. And I'm even more excited to be a part of it all. Um, you have made me realize so much over the course of the past year and a half. You've made me become more you know understanding of love, of life, and what it means to be a father, and to understand that it's a lot more than just providing financial stability. It's about being able to give you unconditional love and support and encouragement through everything that you go through and that you will go through. Just know that I will always be here for you. I love you more than anything, and you mean the world to me, buddy. And God only knows, if it weren't for you, me having you, I'd probably be a lot in a much more complicated position in life. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I know this was probably short, but it's, again, just something that I've been thinking about, something that's been on my mind. As a parent, like I said, just not really knowing how to be a fatherly figure when I myself was in search of that same figure for so long. It's only recently that I came in contact with my dad here. I want to say it's been maybe like 6 years, maybe, or maybe 7. I've kind of lost count. But it's still a very difficult road that we've been traveling, and I guess it's just something I don't ever want my son to feel. I don't ever want him to feel neglected. I don't ever want him to feel unseen or unheard, or like he can't be himself. And that's what I'm here for, and it's what I'm very grateful for. I thank God every day that I get to wake up and be a father. It's a blessing. It's been a lesson, for sure, and it's had many, many, many growing pains. I think I'm definitely going through some of the worst. But I'll continue cherishing the moments that I do get to share with him. Continue working on myself, working towards being a much better father, the best father that I could possibly be, and just showing him the love that I feel I missed out on as a kid. And I want to make sure that I give him all of the love that he needs, all of the support that he needs from his father. Thank you all if you've watched up to this point. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me pretty much vent. There's probably more to it, a lot more in depth that I can get into, but obviously these will all be stories that I share with you guys in the future. This was just more so of a brief breakdown. And I have no idea how long this video is right now, but I do hope that you all tuned in and stayed to the end. Um, I appreciate all the love and the support. Uh, and I look forward to many, 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 many more videos for you guys. Again, if you have anything that you would like to hear me talk about, or just a topic that you'd like me to my thoughts on, please feel free to comment, or you can DM me. And yeah, I think I will end this now. I'm gonna go and clean up and get myself together. Um, but if you are a parent out there that is, going down the same path, trying to make sense of it all, just understand that no parent was given an instruction manual on how to be perfect, on how to be the perfect parent. Some of us just had better structure from the parents that we did have, and unfortunately some of us had to grow up without that structure and kind of build on our own. And it's something that I've come to respect and admire from those that still wake up each and every day and give it all they've got. Because it definitely ain't easy. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. It's meant a great deal, and I really appreciate being able to do this. Much love and positive energy to you all, and talk to you all soon.